10th group, that is the last group of sociolinguistic, we would like to discuss about politeness strategy. There are 4 points that we will discuss in this video. The first point is the definition of politeness. The second point is the politeness strategy from different perspectives. The third point is the politeness strategy in real communication. And the last point, it talks about communication based on politeness strategy. We go to the first point, that is the definition of politeness. The definition of politeness can be defined as the ways in which language is employed in conversation to show consideration for the feelings and desires of one's interlocutors, to create interpersonal relationship, and to comply with the rules for what society or one's culture consider appropriate behavior. Politeness strategy is a way that is done by someone to say his speech more politely. Politeness involves taking account of the feelings of others. It means that one should be paying attention to the politeness strategies, or otherwise there will be miscommunication. If miscommunication happens, it can disturb the relationships. So we can conclude that the politeness is divided as using communicative strategies to create and maintain social harmony.
Next is the politeness strategy from different perspectives. The first is from Brown and Levinson. Brown and Levinson state, politeness is the way to convey the utterance as polite as possible, which in the case is needed to minimize conflict with others. The second is from Lakoff. Lakoff define politeness as a system of interpersonal relation designed to facilitate interaction by minimizing the potential for conflict and confrontation inherent in all human interchange. The fourth, Scholon define politeness strategy is defined into two strategies. The first is involvement strategy. It deals person right. Someone tries to show involvement to other persons in communication because people want to contribute and support the member of the society. And the second, independent strategy. It relates to the individuality of the participant. Someone tries to give independence to the other persons because people want to be free of his or her choice. The fourth, politeness is defined by Geoffrey Leach as a form of behavior that establishes and maintains comedy. In other words, politeness is referring to the ability of the people in a social interaction to engage in communication with relative harmony.
The third point, we talk about the politeness strategies in real communication. Politeness strategy are ways to convey utterance as politely as possible. It can be found in daily conversation. Brown and Levinson divide 4 types of politeness strategy. That is on-record strategy, positive politeness, negative politeness, and off-record indirect strategy. Bulk on-record strategy. According to Brown and Levinson, bulk on-record strategy is a direct way of saying things, clear, unambiguous, and conscious way. This strategy is typically used in emergency situations, such as when you are shouting "get out" when a house is on fire, or when the face rate is very small. For example, when you say "come in," say it in response to a knock at the door, or when the speaker has great power over the hearer. For example, "stop complaining," said by a parent to a child. And then the next is positive politeness. Positive politeness is use of strategies designed to redress the addresser's positive face wounds. Positive politeness are intended to avoid giving offense by highlighting friendliness. Positive politeness is usually seen in group of friends or where people of given social situation know each other very well. For example, um, when you give feedback for someone by saying positive comment first and then after that you give criticism for other opinion. The next is negative politeness. Negative politeness strategy are oriented toward the hearer's negative phase and emphasize avoidance of imposition in the hearer. Brown and Levinson argue that the difference between positive and negative politeness is that negative politeness is the kind of politeness used between acquaintance, whereas positive politeness is used between closer friends. Negative politeness is used to avoid of imposition on the hearer. By attempting to avoid imposition from the speaker, the risk of frustrate to hearer is reduced. It is concerned with other people's need not to be intruded upon or imposed upon. For examples, making a request less infringing, such as if you don't mind, or if it isn't too much. It shows respect for a person's right to act freely. The aim is intended to avoid giving offense by showing deference. The last point that is off-record indirect strategy. The strategy of doing off-record to express something general or different than the speaker's true meaning and relies on the hearer's interpretation to have the speaker's purpose get conveyed. Off-record utterance are essential in the indirect use of language. In this case, the hearer must make some inference to recover what was intended. For example, if somebody says, "It is hot in here," the hidden meaning of the utterance can be a request to open the window or to switch on the air conditioner. That's all the politeness strategy in real communication based on Brown and Levin.
The next is communication based on politeness strategy. So, the first is negative phase. Negative phase is the need to be independent, to have a freedom of action, and not to be imposed by others. For example, your friend asks for a ride to the airport. The negative phase needs you think, "This is not favorable. I don't feel like driving this guy to the airport." And the second is positive phase. Positive phase is the need to be accepted, even liked by others, to be treated as a member of the group, and to know that his or her wants are shared by others. For example, your friend asks for a ride to the airport. The positive phase needs is you think, "I better take him because I want him to like me and I want the reputation of being a reliable person." So, the conclusion of negative and positive is the negative is they are to be themselves, and the positive is they are want to be someone favorite person. And then the third is off record. Even if you decide to say something, you don't have actually to ask for anything. You can perhaps after you search through your bag. Simple purchase is the first is I forget my pen, but the other hand you can say I forgot where I put my pen. So the example is the example of record because the other act as if the statement have not ever been heard. And the fourth is on record. In contrast, if the speaker directly addresses the other as a means of expressing speaker needs, it means the speaker uses the on record technique. For example, give me a pen and lend me your pen. So the mitigating device to soften the demand is the first, would you give me your pen? Or and the second is, please give me your pen, or lend me your pen please, like that. So I think enough for our explanation. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.